make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironsides here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment that made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watch this work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey there, this is Coop from Telepathic Bunny Comics. Welcome to What's Next, where we don't talk about the now. We don't talk about what's going on right now, which is a disaster area. We don't light our pipe by the dumpster fire that is the mainstream. We are looking for what's next, what will become the mainstream. And today I have a creator that I think is probably going to be part of what's next. If you've taken a look at Shadow Sentry, his comic, you will know that I have a point. Anyway, let me bring him on, Mr. Eric Ninaltowski. Welcome to the show.
Hey. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Back with you, man.
The most unwieldy last name of any successful creator I know.
Thank you.
No problem. It's like Ninaltowski. There you go.
There it is.
I'm glad I can say it. You ever have anybody stumbled upon it when they try to say it?
Yeah. I've been called many different things.
What's your favorite?
My favorite was I was playing baseball, and they announce the kids as they come to the plate, and it was it was like, how's Wilblowski? Like it was like they didn't even try to they thought the N was an H, and it was a dumpster fire from there. Yeah.
Oh man, one of the worst one that I ever ran across was a guy by the name of Podobinski, and it sounds like it sounds like how it's supposed to be spelled. It's it's Polish, so No, it wasn't spelled anything like that. But that's how it's pronounced. But that wasn't how it was spelled,
Yeah.
And took me a long time, to figure it out. There's a bad papota, what,
Yeah.
And
I think Bill Sienkiewicz has got me,
Sienkiewicz, that's a really difficult one. I kept calling him Sinkowitz for years. I was like, who are you talking about?
He's got me beat.
Sinkowitz.
Yeah,
because that's how it looks. It looks like Sinkowitz, but Sienkiewicz. Where the hell do you get Sienkiewicz from? That collection of letters,
Right.
It is what it is. It is what it is. A pleasure having you on, Mr. Ninaltowski. But think about. I think we're coming up against the man cave, and I kind of have some crossover, so that might be, part of the reason why some of my regulars aren't here tonight. But it is what it is. We'll probably do this for posterity anyway. Basically, I've kind of got an influx lately of people who are kind of from outside our sphere, and so they usually watch stuff on rewatch, and so while we don't have as many live viewers as I would like, I can assure you that our rewatches are probably where you'll get your most backing. I think the last several times we've had people on, they've told me later that they got backers. So, awesome.
What's going on?
Hey, there you go. If it happens on the show, I usually I flip the bird. I got my own bird to flip. Anyway, hey there, everyone. Wookie Fever, what's up, dude? He's probably eating.
What's up?
He's probably eating. I'm pretty sure he's eating. He eats during live streams. I guess he's probably eating off live stream too. And that dude eats all the freaking time.
He's a Wookiee, man.
Yeah, I know he's a Wookiee. I know he's a Wookiee. Anyway, that's the excuse he always uses. I'm a Wookiee. What do you expect? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, man. Whatever, dude. Anyway, one interesting thing about your comic book series that I used it in my promo and stuff like that is Image 1.0. I was there when it landed, and I remember first getting those books, and it was just like, where the hell was this? What? And I mean, they were they're so beautiful, so good looking, and the art was just incredible. However, the writing was like a see Dick Jane, primer, basically, see bad guys, see good guys, see bad guys, chase good guys, run good guys, run. I just explained the whole entire first arc of Youngbloods, our Cyber Force. I mean, I can't remember, but anyway, and I should remember, right? Thing about it is they had like a whole bunch of characters that should be household names, except you don't see any fan art, do you?
Not too often, no.
These years later, I saw Ripclaw fan art, and I was like, I forgot about that guy. He was pretty big at one point, and it has to do with the writing. The writing was just not there. The very few like Image comics that were pretty well written, we still, they're still got some imprint now. They've still got some footprint. People still know what Jim 13, is. And, people know what Spawn is, right? I mean, people know what Savage Dragon is. That's because that dude's still putting out crap.
Yeah.
I mean, utter and complete crap.
Yeah, it was cool back in the day. But I mean, even those stories were like super simple. It was like,
right.
I feel like the guys doing the solo books, probably did better than the team books, but yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is this team books, like at one point, like the X-Men books and things like that. If you do a team book right, you've got franchise. I mean, you've got like the team story, the main team story, but then you got like the shoot-offs, and you're just starting with those on yours. We'll talk about that. But, it's like, and characters like Gambit, just showed up in Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine movie. And people are like, Gambit, oh my God, Gambit, And now I hear that they're in serious talks of having a Gambit movie, and it's like, well, that Gambit movie was like in production for like 10 years,
right?
You know, and now we're going to do something with it, really, you know. But
chase the money.
There you go, chase the money, right? Well, finally they're chasing money. I don't know what they've been chasing for the last 15 years, but they ain't been chasing money. You know, but you know, and with Marvel, the decline of Marvel, you know, with the activists taking over Marvel and DC, and team up books have just kind of like pretty much dried up and blown away. You know, I mean, I guess, you know, the whole Jonathan Hickman thing. I think Vaughn Coleman the other day was talking about how that completely, totally derailed what X-Men was. It completely eliminated the stakes because, you know, well, that person died, you know, grow a new one. And it just like totally took the heart out of it. They became the villains. You know, they were like preaching to everybody, you know, because all the X-Men office was just like fraught with the worst, you know, people imaginable. I'm not talking writers. I'm talking people, the worst people imaginable. And the books, you know, are all self-inserts. And so because the writers were awful and they inserted themselves into the books became awful. And so, you know, among this like decline of something we really sincerely loved, like the X-Men, what was the first inkling you had that maybe you wanted to write your own team up book?
Man. Good question. My first inkling. I mean, so because the X-Men was the first book I kind of gravitated toward when I started reading comics. So I always had an affinity for the team books, and then
me too.
You know, and then when Image did come out, you know, the majority were team books, and so you know, liking Jim Lee, liking Mark Silvestri, all those guys. It was just kind of like that was kind of built in my DNA. So when I knew I wanted to do a book, you know, around 2020, it was like I had a few books in mind. One was War Gun, which is like a solo guy, you know, which was like, I could do that. It'd be simple. It'd be easy. But my main question was like, what's going to have staying power and what's going to be like something I could just continue on and do over the course of however many years. So, and I was like, I should do a team book. Cause I know that I can have many plans and many, you know, many good years to just delve into that, develop the characters and all that good stuff. So yeah, that was probably why I gravitated towards that.
A good way to get into the topic is to do your promo video from you know, that first book.
Yeah, man.
So let me play that right quick.
Nice.
There you go. There you go. That book is see this one here. I happen to have it handy. This is the first one, and I do kind of like a reevaluation of the book when I have an author on. Whoop, hold on a second. We got just got home from work. Otherwise, I've been on earlier. Nah, no problem. Welcome home. But this one here, reevaluating it, rereading it. The core conflict, of Commander Noble, future Commander Noble. This time he's just John Noble, and Valorian. They're like love affair, and they're trying to save their child from the Hellborn. That first conflict was such a great way to start a book, because the whole it kind of like really illustrated the difference between the Highborn and the Hellborn, because his first like impulse was to send her on and to stand between her and them, even though he was way outnumbered, and it never really occurred to me how much it was stink to be completely invulnerable and be a prisoner of war. It never occurred to me before, but I was like, you know what? If somebody, wanted to torture you, they could they could have
at it. Yeah.
Have at it. Yeah. And it never really occurred to me. It's kind of like when I read Company Men and he had a speedster in it. It never occurred to me how much it must suck to be a speedster, because you can outrun your backup, and you're there, you're there ahead of everybody, and then you're like, oh crap, what do I do now?
Right.
But the whole idea of somebody being completely invulnerable like Noble is, and then like just stuck there, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have fun with you, and it's like, oh well,
yeah,
it's not like we can break you, physically. So we're gonna have fun breaking you in every other way. And so basically, and then she manages to save the child, and then there's an explosion, and she's supposedly killed. I'm going to withhold judgment. I have a hunch that there's a twist there. I'm not asking you to, spoil anything, but
all right.
I have a hunch that there's a twist there, because what if she hides a whole entire freaking church? So I assume she has ability to, fake her death. Just saying. Anyway,
if she can withstand an explosion, then she's good.
Well, there you go. Well, she's obviously pretty powerful,
Yeah.
But then, then you have this vehicle of the like the child of two worlds, being an orphan trying to find his way. You're looking at the world through his eyes, which is always a good idea. If you're going to introduce a world, to have a character completely outside of it, bring them in. And I did think that the pacing really slowed down at parts, trying to get everything in. And that's just the curse of a first book. I mean, I'm dealing with it myself. And there's just expositions just unavoidable. And the first book is, you got to basically get it all in. You got to get people into the world, and you got to unless you're like Bancroft, who just like, I don't care if you figure out, or I don't care if you even know anything about the world at all. I'm just going to stick you in it, and I'll explain it later, which he kind of zigs where everybody zags. I think it's because of Australian thing. I don't know. But
definitely the Jason Augustine part of the story. That's probably the longest part, that you're kind of like stuck in one scene. And it was
right.
Yeah. I was trying to change the scenery as much as I could, so that way at least it's kind of interesting visually. But yeah, there was a lot there for him to kind of go through. But like you said, I wanted it's like, how do you introduce this world? It's a good idea to do it through someone who has no clue or is being sucked into it. So you're kind of learning how, as he's learning. So I thought that would be the best mode of transportation.
Well, I did think that he did suffer a little bit from the perils of Pauline syndrome, where he's basically becomes a MacGuffin that gets passed from person to person, and he didn't really have a lot of his own personality traits. That's that's also a pitfall that a lot of people run into. But and then the second book right here.
You
You
got the full covers, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to go back and get the Jim Lee cover.
Oh yeah, the homage.
Yeah. But let me play that second book trailer. I've got a hold of that too. So here we go. Going into the second book.
All right.
Shadow Sentry. Book 2 is a 50-page graphic novel that picks up right on the heels of Book 1. Jason Augustine, the son of a highborn and hellborn, has been hidden away these past 18 years, but now has resurfaced due to his own brush with death. The Shadow Sentry have managed to rescue Jason from Vengeance's grasp, but now Bloodbane and Hopscotch have managed to track him down. Let the battle begin. The Shadow Sentry and Hellborn battle it out in an epic battle you won't want to miss. Action, adventure, horror. Shadow Sentry has it all in this X-Men meets the Matrix superhero team book with a supernatural twist. Back it today, only on Indiegogo.
You're still muted.
Come on, let me go. Let me go. Yeah, I know. StreamYard sometimes does not let me go after I play a video. And the funny thing about it is I unmute myself. It mutes me back, for some reason. God, I hate StreamYards. But anyway, so the story continues, and basically he becomes kind of like the football in the middle of this conflict. But you throw a lot of characters at us at a very short amount of time. But the thing about it is, with character bloat like that, Perfect 10 has the same problem. I mean, you didn't throw nearly the amount of characters at us that he did. I mean, he threw a ton of characters at you at one time. The second book, it's like suddenly there's like 25 characters, and the first book had a lot of characters. But that second book was just like, masses. But in your case, that second book really fleshed out a lot of characters. You kind of got their personality traits and everything. That's a feat of writing, my friend. I was very impressed with that, and so I gave the second book a higher rating than the first book. The second book really, because you didn't have to get this exposition in, and you didn't have to introduce the players. You could play with the world a little bit. Mm-hmm. And plus you were able to bring Hopscotch in. She was definitely more of an active player in this one. And that there's something wrong with her. There's something wrong with her. I guess we'll find out when we get to the last thing. But the interesting thing, you've got so many plot things going on that I really that you handle very well. You got the whole father trying to save his son. You got that, and you got Mo Noble's grief over Valerian. That gets expressed. You have some some real true stakes. Jason kind of he kind of starts showing a little bit more of personality. Starting showing a little bit that he has some shall we say, cleverness to him. And he's starting to show that a little bit. Then you got the power struggle between Virgin and Bloodbane, who gets introduced in the first one. And Bloodbane is a scary guy. He's a really scary guy. Of course, you got Hopscotch, a fan favorite, I'm sure. But Commander Noble, I always you know, I always like the badass old guys, you know.
Right.
So and he happens to be really, you know, there's a moment where he kind of like shows up, and the first thing he says is like, "You want to go at it? I'll drop my guns. We'll go at it," you know. And it's like there's a lot of history between those two, and he's like, "We're gonna settle this. Let's settle this," you know.
Yeah.
And you get the idea that this guy, you know, the impervious part of him doesn't only exist in the physical, it exists in the mental too. You get the idea that this guy, you know, because of those years and years of torture, you know, he developed a mental toughness that you know, second to none. And I found like he could handle carrying a lot of the plot, handle carrying a lot of that, you know. You need a strong character to kind of like to be a center to move you through. Yeah. And that's one problem that I see with a lot of, especially CG books, is they don't have like characters that can carry the story. You know, the story happens to them, but they're not like existing within the story. You know what I'm saying by that?
I think so.
But you know, with yours, you got powerful enough, strong enough characters. You know, even secondary characters that they can like hold their own. The fact that Ganon feels a little insecure because he doesn't really have a lot of he doesn't have powers, so he kind of overcompensates by jumping in the middle of crap way over his head, and that's a character trait. You know, it endears him a little bit.
Yeah,
he has a lot of what is his name? The guy that had the red bandana.
Grifter.
Grifter. He has a lot of Grifter in him.
Yeah. So, I'm a huge fan of Grifter. So
yeah,
if I had a Grifter character, Ganon would be it. Yeah, for sure.
It would definitely be a Grifter character. But yeah, Grifter has a little bit more power than Ganon does. But Ganon's probably got more guts than Grifter does. Maybe too much.
What is Grifter's powers? Like, I'm a huge Grifter fan. I still have no clue what his actual powers are.
They don't really say. It's kind of like a MacGuffin, you know. He'll every once in a while he'll like show up or do something that he shouldn't be capable of doing, and it's like it's assumed that maybe his power is like good luck. Kind of a little bit like you know, Domino in a way.
Yeah.
But they never really like specify, and that's part of the reason why it makes him such a good character. It's like you don't know what he can or cannot do, and he didn't tell you what he can or cannot do. Maybe that's part of the Grifter thing, you know. But I mean, we could talk about characters like they have, like they're real. If you got a good character, then you can discuss their motivations. You can discuss, you know, what they are, or how they are, and how they move through the world. And you've definitely got that. Not all books have that. But yeah, I mean, I can name you like a few characters that Amidst is really interesting character. I like the fact that he kind of like he's nebulous, not only physically, but he's nebulous. Like, you know, people are like, whoa, what is this dude? You know,
right? Yeah,
they're like trying to figure him out, and they've evidently known him for years and years, but they still don't know what he's capable of or who he is. Yeah, and that's a clever thing, you know, because a guy this corporal that is, you know, not this corporal, I think is the word, but you know, he can phase through things kind of like Kitty Pryde. But then you're like, you know, it's almost like he floats through, and they're like, oh, he's there, you know. Oh, we need Mitz. Where's Mitz? Oh, Mitz is already here, you know.
Yeah.
And I really like that. But I mean, I'm able to point a lot of this stuff out. Hold on a second. Hola. What's up, Wrangler? Hey, man, good to see you.
What's going on?
But you know, in a lot of ways, that's a really good. That's like the strongest point. I think your art is there. I mean, your art is amazing, and I would say your art is definitely up to first gen level Image. I would put you there, and you got a ton of Jim Lee influence, a ton.
I do. That's not a bad thing. I mean,
that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. If you put Jim Lee and you side by side, I could pick you out. So you definitely have some Eric Ninaltowski, things that Jim Lee doesn't do. So you're not ripping him off in any way, shape, or form.
All right.
Your character designs are better than his. I would say that.
All right.
I think he's very basic on his character designs. Incredible at everything else, but basic on character design. You're definitely better on that. And so the art is there, which is, we got all these art fetishists in this community who just like whack off to art. They don't, I don't care if there's a character. I don't care if there's a story. I've had them literally say that to me. I don't care if there's a story or not, as long as the art's there. Like, what the hell are you there for? What the hell are you here for? It's like, just get an art book. Just get a freaking art book. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, when you got people at the top of your community that are saying, well, anybody can write. Well, anybody can write, and more than one has said that. And you're just like, it's the reason why this channel's here. But then you see somebody like you who have spent so much time thinking about this world, spent so much time creating the rules and the parameters of this world. And then there's still things that kind of like that you haven't revealed yet, but I've seen like elements of, like the fact he has a guardian angel that shows up. And it's like, before that, I was like, oh, he's got a guardian angel. Holy crap. Of course, he shows up a little bit too late. Well, I'll just say that. That's all I'll say. But you established that. I went back and I looked and I was like, yeah, he's established that. He established that, like, in the first book early on. We saw gods with wings, and we kind of got the idea that these gods were in existence. But then it's like, oh, he had one assigned to him. Okay. But you really have thought about this. You thought about multiple levels. You thought about multiple, and the characters all have backstories. The characters all have inner worlds. Fuse is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Cool. You got two guys that, they're badass on their own, but they can come together and make a Hulk, basically a Hulk.
Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea. I guess they're twin brothers, I'll assume. Yeah, but that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I made him German just because.
Yeah, why not? well,
cool accents.
Well, that's the thing. You go to make a character, how they come out is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to write this character, I've written characters before. Like I put a Frenchman in one of my books, and he was like in the middle of Scotland Yard, and this guy shows up and he's a Frenchman. And I'll go, why is this guy a Frenchman? I don't know why. He just is French, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why would a Frenchman be in Scotland Yard? And then later on, I was doing research and I've discovered that that French at that time were like really like the leading edge of forensics. And so Scotland Yard having a Frenchman made sense. But I didn't know that when I created him French. He just was French when the story comes out. These things happen all the time when you go to write. As long as you let the story take its own shape, then and don't try to like determine what a character is or isn't. They'll tell you who they are. And so organically you'll wind up with a more diverse story doing that. If you force diversity, then people are going to know it because the character's not going to make sense, or there's something off about them. You see this all the time. Okay.
Yeah. And
when somebody's like forced diversity onto something where it didn't belong, you recognize it right away because the character it's like, it's weird. It's like when you get a character right, everybody knows it when they see it. Right.
Yeah.
It's like Wolverine, all these years we've been waiting for Wolverine to put on the cowl. Right. And it's like all these years have been like it's not quite Wolverine yet. Not quite Wolverine yet. And when he pulled the cowl on, it's just like, bam, he's there. That's Wolverine,
Yeah.
But it took us what 30 years of watching these movies before we got we got the Wolverine, you know.
Yeah, gosh, when did X-Men come out? Was that early 2000s?
Early 2000s, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So almost 25 years.
Almost 25 years, yeah.
Crazy.
And then we find but when it happened is like everybody in the theater was just like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was magic.
It was amazing moment. But when that character like snaps into focus and you're just like, that is that character.
Mm-hmm.
That is perfect for that character. That's exactly what they would have done, or it's exactly how they would act, you know.
Yeah.
That's their backstory. That would be the backstory that belongs to them. And the only way you do that is by being completely organic and completely going through the process. What is your process when you go to create characters?
Typically start with the name. I have to have a good name, and then I kind of, you know, what are their powers, and then based on what their powers are, I'll kind of design them from there. So like, you know, you mentioned Midst, and it's like, okay, all right, for him it was like, all right, I need to know what he does. So Midst was like you know, you kind of think about a mist, but then also like, you know, midst. So he just kind of shows up in the midst of whatever's going on, and he's just there.
Yeah. I noticed that about him. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so he's true to his namesake, and then it's like also he's like almost invisible bodily, right? And so he can just kind of phase in and out. And something I haven't been able to bring out too much is like he's got this cloak, and it's almost like wherever the cloak goes, his body can just pop out of it. You know what I mean? Like his arms are not attached to anything.
A little bit like Cloak from the comics, right?
Yeah. So, you know, it's like, so he's fun, you know, and then Brazen, you know, just like a strong character. And some of these guys I created in high school. So it was like, these are actually Midst, Brazen, and then Galleon from the other team. They're all characters I created in high school. And I kind of just updated them a little bit, changed their look because they were kind of more in like a fantasy land type thing with, you know, armor and all this stuff. And so Brazen changed a little bit, but I kept the gauntlet, kept the sword. So I just designed their look based on what they do and just try and make it look cool, man. And then you know, building their backstory.
The rule of cool, right? You got to have the rule of cool.
Exactly.
Hold on a sec. What's up, ninjas? What's up, Brian? Hey, man.
What's going on?
You know, it's kind of like the difference between Black Myth Wukong, you know, and Concord. You know, it's two games have come out around the same time. You know, both of them were like, you know, real expensive to make. And yet one of them's like just soaring right now. And everybody that plays it's like, wow, that's cool. Oh my God. You know, oh man. Oh, you know, and then you got this other one over here and people look at the characters and are like, huh? What? You know, it's because the rule of cool wasn't followed. You know, they're not cool. Whatever the character is, it's like different rules were applied to making these characters than the rule of cool. Does it look cool is like the most important thing. It just is. It just is. Yeah. Because, you know, especially in the visual medium like comics is, the rule of cool is extraordinarily important. However, it can look cool, but if your characters are not there, then you know, it's just pictures on the page. You know, I have a character named Switch, and interesting thing about her is she can either help or hurt you, but she can't control which. So she either boost your powers or kill your powers. But she's not really in control of that. But it comes out in her personality in that she's heroic if she's not thinking about it. You know, if it's instinctual, there's something instinctually in her heroic. But if she's like called upon to do it, she'll just whine and complain and nope out. But you know, instinctually, she'll jump in between somebody and something else. You know, if she's not thinking about it, it's like, and that's a part of her personality that just came out when I was scripting. And she did something like really heroic, but then she's complaining about breaking a nail, and I was like, I just love writing her because of that. You know, At the same time, you know. What role does her sexuality play in that? Absolutely none. She's a female. That's pretty much it.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But the really interesting thing that I think the reason why Shadow Sentry really could be way bigger than it is, and is the whole entire highborn, hellborn, dichotomy. Okay, good versus evil.
Yeah.
In this world where everybody wants to make everything shades of gray, where the good guys may only marginally be better than the bad guys. The world of the Watchmen, basically. This god awful world of Watchmen that we're stuck in. To have something like clearly demarcated like that is so needed in the world right now. Did you make a conscious effort to do that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, the world, the book, and then, myself, my beliefs, it's all wrapped up in biblical Christianity. So
yeah,
it's like I wanted it to be true to what reality is,
right,
and what it, morality, and what it should be.
Well, it's like a demon was like, I can't remember who it was. It's in the second book where they're about to be overwhelmed. And it's like, break a little man or something like that. And he says, "You'll never break me because of who I believe in." Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember the exact person that said that, but I remember
Brazen, I think.
Brazen. It was Brazen. Right. He said, "You can't break me, because the person that I serve is unbreakable." And I was just like, "Yeah, baby," I just love that. I just love that. Weird. Yeah, no, weird. It's weird. Nice. I like that. Right. But yeah, I mean, you get like a lot of moments like that. But I think honestly, having Commander Noble and Virgin and Virgin's, I don't think Bloodbane is like the real big bad on that side. I think Virgin is, because he's just Vengeant, right?
Yeah,
Vengeant. I'm sorry. He's just so scheming and so like underhanded, and he's just like, he's like undermining Bloodbane at the same time that he's trying to, eliminate the Highborn. It's like this dude's got so many, he's thinking on so many different levels that it's like really, it's like, not Lord Marcion. He's not Lord, Lord Marcion's like just evil.
Yeah. He's trying to impress Lord Marcion, and it's like anything to get back in his good graces, anything to prop himself up, at the expense of someone else. So yeah.
But then you got on the other side, you got Commander Noble, and Commander Noble, who's just like self-sacrificing, standing in the gap, not going to ask anything of anybody else that I wouldn't do myself. And there's like the bar fight where the guy tells him, he's like, "We got you back all the way to the wall. We're going to be here.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere." And that kind of like character, that true blue character that everybody wants to eliminate from society, the Supermans of the world, the Captain Americas, let's turn them into Hitler or whatever. And nobody wants to, everybody's like, "Well, it's just deconstructing heroes." No, it's breaking them.
Yeah, you're killing them.
You're destroying the fact that they're inflexible, the fact that they don't, even if they do bad things, they don't stay there. That is part and parcel to what makes them who they are.
Yeah.
And on Commander Noble's case, they did try to break him. They tried to break him for a couple decades, every day. And yet here he is, still being the upstanding individual. And
that, speaking of the bar fight you mentioned, that was kind of hard, because I was like, man, how far do I push it?
Right.
Where it's like, how far is he willing to go, with him? So that was a little tricky. I was like, man, do I go that far?
Right.
Or is he, and two, a part of it is kind of like he's bluffing. Like, you better help me out, man, or I'm going to do something I really don't want to do.
Right.
So, but he's just, he's concerned about his son. He wants to do the right thing and don't stand in his way. But
he's not willing to do it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what separates him. Just got on. What book is that? Shadow Sentry. Yep. Shadow Sentry. Right now, continuation of such great characters is that you've got a third book that's out, and got it coming eventually. I know you're fulfilling right now. Can't wait to get it. But this is Shadow Sentry Origins. Let me play the promo for that. Here you go. There's one. There's one. Here we go.
Uneasy, dissatisfied, there is a great disturbance, causing affliction, to this frail and broken mind.
I get it. Yeah. So there you go. So you got finally get to find out what's going on with Hopscotch. Yep. Well, I mean, it's like she's just kind of like waifu bait. She really is. I mean, Japanese schoolgirl with samurai sword, teleportation and a mean streak a mile wide. I mean, come on, this world of anime, she's just like custom made for that kind of crowd, the weebs or whatever. Really. Did you write that one, or was that the Mark Polton one?
Okay, so Mark helped me write that one. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's co-writing with myself. He did the bulk of it. I just kind of came alongside, and because there's just a lot going on, so I just wanted to make sure everything's cohesive, everything's understandable. But it's like it involves like 3 different factions of Yakuza, so it's like just want to make sure it made sense and it wasn't too crazy. But yeah, man.
Well, Mark's a great panel writer. I don't always have like the best experiences with his writing when it comes to characterization, but he's a incredible panel writer. I assumed that you went behind him and kind of like did more of the character stuff. He has his fans. I mean, he makes how many comics has that dude sold? I mean, holy crap.
I know. Yeah, he's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy. So
I wanted that. He's got that kind of 90s style writing down.
Oh yeah. Except maybe 2 90s for me, but
yeah.
It's like a lot of spectacle. But.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good blend. And then having Clayton Barton do the breakdowns and layouts was awesome.
There you go. Yeah, so Clayton is very underrated. I mean, Clayton's I mean, the dude teaches other people. But he's somebody that teaches that actually can. I mean, there's the whole joke. Those who can't teach. But he definitely is teaching from a place of strength. I've been very impressed with his art. I mean, incredible artist. And a great guy. Every interaction I've had with him has been very positive. But I mean, you got this, and you got the origin story from that's the one I really want to see, the Commander Noble origin story.
I know.
Because you get an idea. There's a lot that happened between him and Vengeance. I mean, a lot. just from their interaction is like, these dudes have got a lot under that bridge. I mean, I'm really fascinated to see that.
Yeah.
And I'll get mine. I'll get mine very shortly. So
I'm sure.
add it
Yes,
to my
I should be done by the end of the month with fulfilling the Indiegogo at least, and then I got to do the Kickstarter and the Fund My Comic.
I think I did my fun. I think I got you on the Fund My Comic.
Okay.
Anything that hits Fund My Comic, I'll back.
Sweet.
Okay. Right. That's my promise. If it hits Fund My Comic, I'll back it day one.
All right.
That's my stand I'm taking. You know, I don't know. Kickstarter doesn't bother me as much as Indiegogo. Indiegogo does so many shady things. And you know, this whole new thing that they're doing, latest thing about holding on to money. I mean,
yeah, I've heard about that. Thankfully, it didn't happen to me, but that's
well,
horrible.
you fulfill your books in the timely manner. I think it just has to do with some other people who shall remain nameless. Anyway, but the thing about it is you know, this whole Shadow Sentry series. Let me go ahead and give a rating for the whole series. You know, the art is there, the writing is there, the characters are there, and pretty much a day one back anytime I see anything come up. Very few books that I'm like that with, and this is definitely one of them. So I'm gonna give it a.
Right. So that was 6?
6 carats for the I got a 1 through 6 carat system. So
I got all 6.
You got all 6.
I thought that doesn't happen, man. I thought you were reserving the 6 for something else.
Well, I reserved the 6 for you know, individual books. Okay, the first book would be a 4. The second would be a 5.
Okay.
And I don't know what the origins would be, but for the overall like series in general, the quality and level of the series itself would be a 6.
Good night, Wrangler.
Hey, whoop! Was there somebody?
He's got to go.
Oh, okay, no problem. See you, man. Yeah, I got some work he needs to get done. All right.
Well, I'm flattered to get 6 carats. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well, you know, for the series at large, definitely. Individual book, the only book has ever gotten for individual book was definitely Shadowpunk.
Gotcha.
But you know, as a series, just this world, I'm into this world so much, and I just love the fact there's a complexity there. You know, that there's inner worlds, there's like subplots going on, there's interactions that hint at more, because that just shows that somebody spent a lot of time building this thing, building the world. And it's like I tell people, is if you're going to build a world that's not made out of cardboard. Build it like the Empire State Building with that can take a direct hit from a you know, DC-9, you know, and stay and just knock out a few floors. I mean, and stay standing. You basically, you know, I like a world that I don't have to stay within the ropes because it's not just cardboard. It's just not like fascia.
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to write in this world, I could write in this world. That tells me it's good. I used to be a big fan fiction writer, and you know, before it went woke. I mean, it went woke before anything else. All these people that just destroyed fan fiction, they're writing for mainstream now. If that tells you,
right.
They graduated, and they're destroying everything else. And I saw this in fan fiction when it first came in. But if I can write in your world, right. And I can like pick a character and maybe write that character, or just write my own character into your world using your rules. That tells me that you spent a lot of time developing the laws, you know, developing, you know, putting in the supports, putting in I'm not looking at like cheap plaster. I'm looking at drywall. You know, I'm looking at something as solid that can take take it wherever I need to go. Marvel used to be that until they started breaking canon. You start breaking canon, you start breaking down the world. But lore matters so much, and they keep like, oh, lore don't matter. I mean, we can rewrite the lore. I mean,
Same thing with Star Wars.
Star Wars is a good example. Doctor Who, definitely Doctor Who is an example of this. But there should be certain things that are sacrosanct. There should be some rules that can be broken. And what that does is it gives consistency to the world. It gives a backbone. Okay, this is the limitations. You can't go beyond this. One reason I'm not really embraced anime is they break their own rules all the time. I mean, you see this. I was watching My Hero Academia, and this dude is supposedly on his last legs, and he keeps like showing godlike power and just going beyond his limitations, and then nothing happens at the end of the day. He's back to being decrepit, and it's like, wait a second, is he decrepit or is he powerful? Well, make up your freaking mind. It just anytime when it's like, well, plot dictates that this guy's supposed to be powerful at this moment, so he's powerful at this moment. Anytime I see that, I'm like, click, and in your world, one thing that I really like about your world is if Commander Noble has a limitation, that limitation gets it respected. Like if he when he's trying to save his son, he didn't quite get there because his physical limitation wouldn't allow him to get there. He wasn't quite that fast. He wasn't fast. And you didn't like break that hard and fast rule that the speed demand is a normal human speed. You didn't like speed him up or whatever. He fell because he wasn't quite fast enough, and then he beats himself up over it. With something he would do. But when you respect that, when you don't like, okay, well, they had this power level here, but we need them to be here, and so boom, we just write it into the plot. No build up. And Shane Davis does this. One reason I don't read Inglorious Rex is because he broke that in the first comic. He established this, broke it, established this, broke it, then established this, broke it. And I'm like, I don't even know what this world is. Well, this is supposed to be a law. Oh, he broke that law. Nothing happened to him. Or this guy is supposed to be this, and then he went beyond that. And when you completely break your own rules, break your own lore, break the limitations that characters are supposed to have, just because plot demands it. And this happens all the time. People are just like, the plot says that this person has to do this, and so they do this. Acolyte was a good example of this. I didn't watch it, but every reaction that I saw, it's like, oh well, this is supposed to be true of this moment. Oh no, but over here they need to plot to do this. And so plot did this. And so anytime I see that, it's an instant, it turns me off. And so, same thing with the Graveyard Shift grade. Same thing with some very big names, some very big books in our area. But if you can't establish and keep your own laws, then I'm done, And it's writing. Writing does that. And so your book has the writing. And so that's why you're one of the best unsung creators. You should be way bigger than you are. Now, probably the best book that does this is probably Stump, Nathan Rosario.
Okay.
Because that guy, he works within his limitations all the time. But the world around him changes, but he stays like the same. But Nathan has such a good idea of the power level this guy has, that he never goes beyond that. But he allows the guy, because of those limitations, he allows him to be somebody who like overcomes his own limitations, which makes a good character. Okay. That's what makes a good character, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for coming, my friend. Thank you for the fluffiest chat and all the YouTube. We got 43 eyes. Hey, if you haven't backed Shadow Sentry, there is a link in the description for the sign up for book 3, right?
Yep. And right now on Fund My Comic, you can get the catch up for book 1 and 2. And then as soon as I'm done fulfilling Shadow Sentry Origins, that'll show up in there as well, or on my website, either or. But yeah, love to have you guys join.
And if you're a Hopscotch fan, there's a card set for Halloween for Hopscotch on on his website. Link is in the description. I highly recommend this book to anybody. If you like that early Image style, but wishes there was actual good writing, this is your book. This is the guy right here. You know, the art is there, the writing is there, the characters are there. I mean, it's a very high recommend for me. High bunny recommend for me. I don't give 6 carats out lightly, but I definitely do that.
Thank you, man.
Glad I could make it. I'll be back. Good to see you, Brian. Welcome back. Anyway, but thank you for coming, sir. I'll let you get back to it because I know you're fulfilling a lot of stuff right now. Probably. Don't want to leave your wife with it for too long. You don't want resentment there. Anyway,
no worries, man.
No problem. When that book launches, you know, if you want to come back, I'd love to have you back on.
Okay.
I know right now it's on sign up. But yeah, get the series today. The catch up tier is on at Fund My Comic. You can get both books there. I'm probably going to go back and get the first book, the Jim Lee style cover. I just Commander Noble's the dude, and they have him like, you know, in the Cable style. Definitely want to get all of that. Anyway, badass little guys for the win. Woo! Anyway. All right. So cool, y'all have a very good night. You know, we'll see you next week for what's next. Same bunny time, some bunny channel. Next week will be Michael Bancroft.
Nice.
We'll be on next week. You know, or nice. Definitely nice. Anyway. No worries. Anyway, so that'll be next week. We'll see you back here. Same bunny time, same bunny channel. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace. See ya.